welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I am now folding my fabric. I have switched around the system and the way that I fold and store my fabric. I will link the other video that I did a long time ago. It's an oldie now, and that was the system that I was using up until just this last week, where now I'm folding it more like a bolt, like you would see in a fabric store. And who wouldn't want their home studio to look like a fabric store? I know I do. I love that this is easy for me to see. It's color coded. It's so much easier for me to work and see everything. I just love the way that this turned out. So I'm going to show you all the pluses and minuses, the different kind of products that I use, show you how I fold the fabric on these bolts, different sizes of fabric that you have. So let's jump right in. I'm going to show you all the details on how I did it. Okay, so I want to give you a rundown on the different options that I tried out for folding my fabric this new way. This is from a company called Paper Pieces, and they're actually Polar Notions fabric organizers. These are these little guys. So the nice thing about these is that this is a fat quarter, so they are fat quarter size. You put the fabric in here. They're really, really sturdy. They're archival, all that good stuff. I got this first pack in my Quilty Box subscription, so I had one to try out, and then when I ordered some more, I ordered an additional fat quarter size 10-pack, and then I also ordered the big guy. So this one is a lot larger, the 10-pack, and this is what I stored all of my larger fabrics on. My flannel, I have some upholstery fabric. It has 2 of these in here. Really sturdy. These are really, I do recommend these for, bigger bolts of fabric or bigger amounts of yardage, because these are sturdier than the other option I'm going to show you. The downside to these is they are kind of expensive. So here's the receipt. I spent $17 for a set of 10 for these, so I do feel like that's a little expensive. But I don't have, I used up all 10 of them, but and I might get another pack at some point, but they are useful for these larger bolts. And I'll show you what other types of fabric, my minky, anything that's much thicker, it's just not going to fit on these as well. So now I wanted to share with you this option. This is something that I read about on quilting blogs and people who have done this before me, so I didn't come up with this idea myself. But this is a really good option. I bought 1 pack, so I just wanted to show you the 2 kind of labels. Ultra Pro comic series boards, okay? So they're archival. There's 100 of them in 1 pack. And they were $9.99, so $10 for 100, which, hello, that's like a super good deal. And this is what they look like. One side is coated and one side is raw, but they are really sturdy and you can't beat that price. So I used 1 pack all the way through of 100, and then I bought the second pack because I needed a few more, and then I'll have them as extras when I get new fabric. Or then if they just start to get worn out and the corners get a little dog-eared, I can easily replace them. So I'll show you here on this piece of purple how I'm folding this fabric. I wanted it to take up a little bit more. I want there to be some on the top and the bottom. And I'm just folding it in a third. So this is how you would fold a fat quarter on these, and then just measure it. Nope, I need it to be a little bit more narrow. Fold it over. And now it can go in my cabinet. This was a fat quarter size. On the smaller guys, you can fold it in quarter, you could fold it in half and then in half again. And then it fits on here like this. So I do like these. I like how sturdy they are, but they're just a little bit pricey. The good thing about them is that you can also, I'm not sure that I'm going to keep mine like this, but they are sturdy enough to have multiple fat quarters. So you can see I have 3 different colors. They're all from the same line of fabric. So it sort of just depends on your storage area and how it's going to work the best for you. And then I usually just kind of like tuck these in. You can get little clips, but once they're up next to each other, it stays pretty well. Now, like this piece of fabric, this is pretty much smaller than a fat quarter, so I'm not going to fold this on my bolts. I'm reserving my bolts for fat quarters and above. So fat quarters are 18 by 22. This one I've cut into it so it's not quite large enough, so this would go in my scrap bin. I have it set out because I'm going to be using it on a project, but just so you know, that's sort of how I'm doing it. That way I know everything on my bolts is at least a fat quarter when I'm looking, you know, for the right sizes. So this would go in the scrap bin. I wanted to show you how I would fold a 1/2 yard of fabric. This is a 1/2 yard of fabric that I recently purchased. You can see here's my selvage. My selvage is on the right side. I have it folded in half. And then I'm going to fold it in thirds. So this is for a 1/2 yard of fabric. I buy my fabric most of the time in 1/2 yard increments, so most of my fabric was about this size. So this is a piece of fabric that I have. It's actually from 2011. I've been sort of hoarding it. So this is about 1 yard of fabric. I pre-washed it to make pillowcases out of it, and I just never got to it. So here's my selvage on this side. So this is another way that you can fold it. I'm just going to fold it in thirds again. So this is a yard. So this is about 1 yard of fabric. And I'm just sort of making sure that there's enough here to grip onto it so that it's nice and tight. And then the first time I fold it over, I sort of like tighten it up. And I just want to make sure I have some white on both the top and the bottom. I'm not super anal about this. Some of them have more than others because things are going to shift around and they're not going to all look perfect, but okay, here's where I'm using these bigger bolts. You can see here where having this faux fur on those smaller bolts would just be impossible. So it would either have to be folded up without a bolt, or it needs to have that thicker bolt. So since I had them to try them out, I decided to put some of my larger amounts of fabric, like my flannel, this is a minky that I have, some faux leather, and some upholstery fabric and flannel on the larger bolts. The other thing about these is that they are quite a bit taller than the other bolts, so you have to have a larger space on your shelf. So these will work for now because then I also have my some of my pre-cuts over here, some rulers and things like that. So this works for my setup, but just keep that in mind. Measure your bookcase or wherever you want to store these before you purchase your bolts. So much for watching. Check out the description box below for more details. You can visit my blog, melaniekhem.com, for more photos and details. Also, I will have some more organizational studio videos coming your way, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!